America, JOC here with your Ranting Politics headline updates, where we are diving into today's most explosive political stories that you need to know about. Coming up, we're heading to space where there's some seriously weird stuff going down on the International Space Station. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this one. Then we're diving into the latest deportation drama as Trump dusts off a 225-year-old law only to hit a judicial wall. Speaking of Trump, we'll break down his ordered military strikes against the Houthis in Yemen and why it matters for your wallet. Finally, we're talking TikTok's fate as the clock ticks down on that Chinese-owned app everyone's addicted to. Stick around for all this and more in your daily dose of unfiltered news and common sense commentary. This is Ranting Politics Headline Updates. Well, folks, in what might be the most entertaining space news since Elon Musk launched a Tesla into orbit, the International Space Station just had its own close encounter of the hilarious kind. According to the New York Post, Commander Nick Haig of SpaceX Crew-9 decided to spice up the traditional welcome ceremony by greeting the incoming astronauts while zooming around in a gray alien mask and black hoodie. The newly arrived crew, including astronauts Anne McClain, Nicole Ayers, Japan's Takuya Onishi, and Russian cosmonaut Kirill Peskov, were treated to this unexpected extraterrestrial welcome as they boarded the station after their successful docking just after midnight ET on Sunday. But here's where things get even more interesting. The incoming crew is actually relieving some seriously overdue astronauts. Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore have been stuck up there since June 2024. That's right. They've been space camping for nearly 9 months thanks to some technical issues with their Boeing Starliner. These folks were only supposed to be up there for 8 days, but you know how it goes with government contractors. Nothing ever goes according to plan. The good news is that Williams, Wilmore, and the rest of Crew-9 are finally getting their ticket home, with undocking planned for as early as Wednesday. I've got to say, if I'd been stuck in space that long, I might be wearing something a bit more expressive than an alien mask. The whole episode has absolutely lit up social media, with space enthusiasts having a field day in the comments. And honestly, it's refreshing to see our astronauts keeping their sense of humor intact while floating 250 miles above Earth. The ISS might be a serious scientific facility, but clearly, there's still room for some good old-fashioned fun up there. In a dramatic turn of events that sounds more like a Hollywood thriller than real life, President Trump's latest immigration enforcement strategy hit some serious turbulence yesterday. The New York Post reports that Trump attempted to dust off a law older than photography, the 1798 Alien Enemies Act, to fast-track the deportation of alleged Venezuelan gang members. But federal judge James Boasberg wasn't having any of it. Here's where it gets wild. The judge literally ordered planes that were already in the air carrying deportees to turn around and come back to the United States. That's right, folks, we had U-turns at 30,000 feet. Boasberg didn't mince words, declaring, "Any plane containing these folks that is going to take off or is in the air needs to be returned to the United States, however that is accomplished." The whole situation centers around members of the Tren de Aragua gang, which Trump's administration claims is effectively waging war against the United States. The White House says they've identified about 300 suspected members in custody. But here's the kicker. This ancient law Trump tried to invoke has only been used 3 times in American history, all during actual wartime, with the last time being FDR during World War II. The judge has now put a 14-day restraining order on the use of this act, arguing that keeping these individuals in custody a bit longer won't harm the government. Meanwhile, the ACLU and Democracy Forward have jumped into the fray, challenging the removal of 5 Venezuelan men under this centuries-old law. The Trump administration has already appealed, but for now, those deportation flights are grounded until at least next Friday's hearing. Breaking news from Yemen, where President Trump has launched what he's calling decisive and powerful military action against Houthis forces. The strikes, targeting bases, leaders, and missile defenses, come in response to the Iran-backed group's relentless attacks on shipping vessels in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. Trump didn't mince words in his announcement on Truth Social, declaring to the Houthis that your time is up and your attacks must stop starting today. He even threw in a warning that hell will rain down upon you like nothing you have ever seen before. The president also fired a shot across Iran's bow, warning them against supporting the Houthis' forces with a stern, "We won't be nice about it." The impact was immediate. Reports from Yemen describe explosions rocking multiple locations, including the capital Sana'a and the northern province of Saada. The Houthis-run health ministry claims 31 casualties, including women and children, with over 100 injured. Thick black smoke was seen rising over Sanaa's airport complex, home to a major military installation. The Houthis have been a major thorn in the side of international shipping, forcing vessels to take lengthy detours and driving up freight costs. Just this week, they announced plans to resume blocking what they call Zionist shipping, threatening both Israeli and American vessels. Trump slammed the previous administration's handling of the situation, calling Biden's response pathetically weak and claiming no U.S.-flagged commercial ship has safely sailed through the region in over a year. The stakes here are enormous, folks. We're talking about one of the world's most crucial waterways being choked off by a group that Trump's administration says has fired missiles at U.S. aircraft and targeted American troops and allies. As this situation develops, we'll be keeping a close eye on both the Houthis' response and any potential retaliation from their backers in Iran. Now let's talk about the TikTok saga that's been keeping tech executives and politicians on the edge of their seats. Vice President J.D. Vance just dropped some interesting news about the app's future in America, and it's looking more promising than many expected. Speaking aboard Air Force Two, Vance expressed confidence that we'll see a high-level agreement for TikTok's sale before that looming April 5th deadline. Remember, folks, this all kicked off when Trump signed that executive order giving ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, a 75-day window to either sell to an American buyer or face a nationwide ban. And now Vance, our former venture capitalist turned VP, is right in the thick of it, working alongside National Security Advisor Michael Waltz to broker this massive deal. The numbers we're looking at are staggering. We're talking about a potential $50 billion price tag. Wyoming entrepreneur Reed Rasner has already thrown his hat in the ring with a $47 billion offer. And Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian is jumping into the fray too, joining forces with businessman Frank McCourt's bid. But here's where it gets interesting. Vance is pretty frank about the challenges they're facing. While he's confident about getting the broad strokes in place, he admits the devil's in the details. Thousands of pages of legal documents, equity ownership structures, and service provider contracts all need to be hammered out. As someone who's been in the venture capital world, he knows these deals typically take months, not weeks. Trump's keeping his options open, mentioning they're in talks with 4 different groups, though he's playing those cards close to his chest. And while everyone's pushing to meet that April deadline, there's always the possibility of an extension if needed. The bottom line? TikTok's not going anywhere. It's just going to get a star-spangled makeover, assuming they can get all those I's dotted and T's crossed in time. And that wraps up today's whirlwind tour through the headlines. From cosmic pranks on the ISS to high-stakes tech deals right here on Earth. What a day, folks. We've covered alien masks in space, deportation drama that had planes turning mid-flight, Trump unleashing military might in Yemen, and the ticking clock on TikTok's American makeover. Remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we cover here at Ranting Politics. For more unfiltered, straight-to-the-point news coverage that cuts through the noise, you know where to find us. Follow us on X at RantingRP, catch our daily episodes on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts, or visit us at rantingpolitics.com, where we post our blog deep dives on the topics we cover in our Headline Updates podcast. This is JOC signing off, and thank you, our loyal listeners, for choosing Ranting Politics Headline Updates. We'll be back soon with the updates you need to navigate these interesting times. Until then, stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay free.